6 weeks after Jason Bourne's escape from Russia, CIA Director Ezra Kramer meets with Operation Outcome Supervisor Mark Turso, another secret government program, about a potential leak from a London reporter, Simon Ross, who is planning to release a report on Jason Bourne and the Treadstone and Blackbriar CIA secret programs. Kramer is worried about the fallout from such an article, but Turso plans to take care of it and will mention it to Colonel Eric Beyer, the man in charge of all government super soldier programs. Later, Turso meets Beyer as he is on his night run. Meanwhile, in the Alaskan wilderness, Aaron Cross, an Operation Outcome agent labeled Number 5, is assigned to a training exercise as punishment for going AWOL. He has to traverse the unforgiving terrain and fighting off wolves, all while trying to make his way to a remote cabin. With him are his pills, issued by Operation Outcome to maintain his mental and physical enhancements, and he draws blood every day per protocol. Beyer and his team are doing damage control on all government secret programs after the Treadstone leak to see how far it goes and clean up any compromised programs. A while later, Simon Ross is assassinated in a train station and Beyer watches the news, satisfied. We then meet Dr. Marta Shearing, who works at Steris Pharmaceuticals, the company that makes Cross's enhancement meds. She learns that Outcome Agent Number 6 has come in for a routine checkup, so she goes to meet with him. Beyer, Turso, and CEO of Steris Terrence Ward, watch videos of Treadstone's Dr. Albert Hirsch celebrating with Outcome's Dr. Dan Hilcott, and Beyer is worried that if Treadstone is exposed, it could also lead investigators to Outcome. He wants to scrap Outcome preemptively, but Ward thinks they will be losing all their hard work when nothing has even happened as yet. Beyer tells him the science and data will all be saved. However, this has to happen to protect them. As Cross nears the cabin, he hides his pills, then fires off shots to announce his presence to the cabin operator. He then encounters the operator, who is amazed as Cross beat the training record by 2 days. The operator leads him inside, where they prepare Cross's blood work to be sent off on a drone arriving in 3 hours. But Cross tells him he lost his pills and describes how it happened. He realizes then that the operator is actually Outcome Agent Number 3, the first other agent he has ever met. He needs to take his pills before blood work can be drawn for the day, so Number 3 relents and gets him some dosage from his storage. Cross and Number 3 send off their blood work on the CIA drone. Later, Cross has a million questions for Number 3 about the program, but Number 3 refuses to engage with him as he is not sure what the other's mission really is. Cross, however, no longer cares about protocol and wonders what Number 3 did to be posted at the cabin. He figures out that Number 3 fell in love, but the man has had enough of the conversation and leaves. The CIA soon begins issuing a different set of pills to the Outcome agents, and, one by one, they all begin to fall dead. The next day at the cabin, Cross swears he hears the sound of a drone and wonders if Number 3 is expecting a resupply, but he isn't. Both men become instantly concerned, so Cross decides to check it out when suddenly a rocket blows up the cabin, killing Number 3. Cross takes off running as the drone circles around. And the drone operators swear they see another signal on the map and are trying to figure out if it's a glitch. Meanwhile, Cross is moving at top speed. He climbs a mountain, then uses a foil paper contraption to hide the GPS implanted in his thigh, which blocks the signal to the drone. He then assembles a powerful sniper rifle, and as the drone comes around, he fires and hits it, leaving the operators confused and thinking they hit something. Cross goes back to the cabin, but all the pills have been destroyed. We then see Beyer being alerted to the drone crash. He is making plans to send another drone out when his team finds out that the signal is Aaron Cross. Meanwhile, Cross grabs some items from a shed, then lays a trap out in the snow. Beyer is overseeing the follow-up drone when the signal reappears and his pilots begin to lock in on it. It is Cross removing the GPS tracker from his thigh. The pilots wonder what weapon systems he is running and are stunned to learn he probably just has a rifle. Cross puts his plan into action. He fakes being injured and bleeding in the snow to lure the pack of wolves to his position, and the large alpha slowly approaches. He then acts scared to lure the wolf closer before trapping it, then subduing it with his strength.
15 minutes plus or minus. Just trying to factor the storm.
Cross manages to slip the tracker into the wolf's mouth as the drone prepares to fire, then takes off running just as the missile hits the wolf. At the base, everyone assumes Cross has been killed. Bayer has a flashback to working closely with Cross, who was CIA Black Ops at the time doing his dirty work, but none of that matters since he is now dead. Later, Ward is losing his marbles as former CIA Director Pamela Landy will be interviewed by the Senate, and he fears she will reveal more than just Treadstone and Blackbriar. Bayer reassures him she doesn't know much, and Terso reveals they have Landy under complete surveillance, and she doesn't even breathe without them knowing. At Steris in Morlanta, Dr. Foyt seemingly has a mental break at his station. Without any word, Foyt enters a secure area where outcome head researcher Dr. Hillcott is working, and he bolts both doors to the lab. He suddenly shoots Hillcott dead and begins gunning down the other scientists inside.
No, no, no. My God, no!
Dr. Shearing hits the alarm and goes to hide as Foyt continues gunning down people.
Where are you, man? I need a red car now.
She manages to run into a small room and hold on tight to the door handle as Foyt tries to enter, but she knocks him down and escapes once more. Just then, the security guards manage to enter the room, and Foyt turns the gun on himself, leaving Shearing as the only survivor. Cross travels to Chicago, where he recovers his stash of cash and documents before realizing he is low on his pills. He sees that Dr. Shearing has survived the attack, so he plans to track her down for more. Shearing is at home when 4 federal agents arrive. Dr. Dowd and Agent Hooper have come to speak with her after she bought a plane ticket to leave town. Dowd claims to be here to counsel her, however, insists on knowing if she spoke to anyone. Dowd also claims to have found material indicating that Foyt was obsessed with Shearing and wonders if she ever turned him down, implying that Shearing was the cause of Foyt's episode, which is why he let her live. Shearing knows otherwise, then reveals her thoughts that the secret projects to modify behavior at Steris in Morlanta could be the cause. Just then, Hooper returns, holding Shearing's gun, and she angrily demands that they leave her home, but Dowd tells her they're just trying to ensure she is safe. As Shearing takes a seat, Dowd and Hooper suddenly grab her, trying to force her to hold the gun and end herself, but Cross bursts in and attacks them, killing Hooper. The other 2 assassins, disguised as agents, also enter the chaos, and Cross is forced to escape gunfire. Shearing grabs her gun and escapes up the stairs, letting off shots. Cross escapes to the basement, and one assassin goes down to check for him, while Dowd confirms Hooper's death, and she and another agent go looking for Shearing. Cross ambushes the lone agent in the basement and beats him down brutally. Dowd goes up the stairs to look for Shearing while the other assassin goes to check the basement. But Cross quickly climbs up to the 3rd floor and shoots Dowd dead. He then approaches a scared Shearing, who recognizes him, telling her to do as he says if she wants to live. Shearing fires off shots to lure the assassin up the steps, where Cross shoots him dead from inside the cellar. He then asks Shearing for pills, but she is too confused and scared to make any sense. They don't have much longer until another team is sent in, so Cross gasses the entire house, and they escape into the woods as it burns. They steal a car where Cross gives her a fake name, June, to go by. She wonders what is going on, but Cross thinks she knows more than what she is letting on. He demands the pills, refusing to believe she doesn't have any, but Shearing gets overwhelmed and demands to be let out. Cross stops the car, telling her she must have a plan and listing out all her options, but all of them lead to her losing her life. Shearing calms down and explains that the Steris in Morlanta lab is actually located in the Philippines, and Cross thinks that all hope is lost. He is worried that without his pills, he will degrade quickly, but Shearing reveals that the program had already used a virus to make his physical enhancements permanent, eliminating his need for physical pills. Cross wonders if she can do the same for the cognitive enhancement blue pills, and she thinks she can do so in theory, so Cross decides to head to the Philippines. Bayer gets news of the failed assassination attempt and is confused as to how Shearing could have taken out their assassins and escaped, so he plans to set up a crisis room to track her down. Shearing and Cross get a hotel room. There, he tells her she must refrain from contacting anyone as they will become a target also, and hands her a fake ID. She wonders why staying enhanced is so important to him, and he explains that he has seen firsthand someone have a cognitive degrade and mental break from not taking their blue pills, and they won't make it if he breaks. At Byers' crisis room, they are flagging all news reports about the incident while still going through the bodies to identify Shearing. Cross creates Shearing's fake passport, and they pass through airport security without an issue. Byers' search team on the ground picks up Shearing's trail leading from the house to a parking lot, and he knows she is getting help from someone but cannot figure out who. At the airport, Cross hears news that Dr. Hirsch has died of an apparent heart attack just before he was to testify on Treadstone and Jason Bourne. He and Shearing soon board the plane to Manila. Meanwhile, Byers' team identifies the car that picked Shearing up, tracks it, and begins to close in on her.
Yes, we want all of that and the toll.
This is our car, the LeSabre.
It's her.
LaGuardia, Kennedy, Philly, Newark.
Where is this?
Kennedy.
Cross and Shearing arrive in Manila and take a cab to the lab. They arrive, pretending to be there for work. The security guards don't have them on the list, but Cross coaxes his way inside. As they make their way in, Cross begins to feel dazed and distant, but claims he is fine. Meanwhile, Byers has his team run all the passengers on Shearing's flight, and when they identify Cross, Byers clears the entire room. The team brainstorms the reasons why Cross and Shearing would be at the plant, and then conclude that she is trying to viral him out of his blue meds. Meanwhile, we see Shearing and Cross preparing for their procedure. She prepares the injection, and Cross thanks her before she injects him. Byers then calls the boss of the plant, who recalls seeing the two doctors enter. He has sent men to check them out, but Byers orders him to withdraw everyone and contain them in the lab. 3 security guards, however, get to the lab, trying to find out what's going on, but when they try to restrain Cross, he knocks them all down in an instant. They exit the lab back up to the plant, and Cross fires off shots inside to cause panic and use it to escape. The plant boss spots them and tries to organize his men, but Cross knocks him out before disappearing into the crowd. Byers is still tracking Cross, knowing he couldn't have gotten far. They then activate another program agent, Larks 13, an emotionless assassin. Cross is weakening by the second and sweating profusely as the virus moves through his body, and Shearing has to help him to a room she got for them. Shearing tends to a weakened Cross. He is not sure he will make it and tells her to take all his cash, escape, and start a new life, but Shearing hushes him. Larks 13 soon arrives in Manila and begins tracking Cross and Shearing. Cross soon recovers from the infection to see a note from Shearing that she has gone for meds. Shearing gets meds at the local shop when she sees cops heading to her apartment, and they soon cordon off the entire street with Larks 13 watching on. Shearing sees the cops about to burst into the apartment, and left with no other option, she screams out to Cross to run before taking off. Cross bursts from the apartment and takes to the roof with the cops in pursuit. Cross begins going after Shearing to save her, while Larks 13 is also after them. Shearing hides inside a house, but the mother screams for the cops. Shearing takes off and almost gets cornered, but Cross shows up and takes out the cops. He grabs Shearing, and they begin moving through the busy streets, but Larks 13 is closing in on them. Cross spots Larks 13 heading toward them and rushes with Shearing to escape. He then gives her his backpack, telling her to keep walking, before stealing a bike and catching up with Shearing. Larks 13 steals a cop car, and he and other bike cops begin chasing Cross through the streets. Larks 13 pulls close and takes aim, but Cross loses him in traffic. He tries ramming a bus full of people into Cross, almost causing Shearing to fall, but Cross saves her. Larks 13 crashes the car, but he steals a nearby motorcycle to continue his chase, with more cops not too far behind. Larks 13 manages to throw the cops from their bikes. Closes in on Cross and lets off shots, hitting Cross in the leg, but Cross circles around and shoots Larks 13 in the shoulder, causing him to crash. Cross, though weakened from the bullet, pushes on with Shearing, but Lark's 13 catches up with them. Cross is slowly losing consciousness, but Shearing manages to kick Lark's 13 into a wall before they also fall from the bike. They then get help from a local fisherman. Meanwhile, Byer and his team lose Cross and Shearing's trail. They review a video of the room where Cross stayed the night to see the message and know more. In New York, Blackbriar's supervisor Noah Vosen lies to the Senate, stating that Blackbriar was created solely to track down Bourne, and that Deputy Director Pamela Landy committed treason by aiding Bourne and releasing top-secret Treadstone files to the press. Meanwhile, Cross recovers from his bullet wounds on the boat out of Manila, where he and Shearing use a chart to determine where they should go next.